Okay po. So, power and leadership. So, another leadership subject, ano po? Psjlc. Okay? So, eto po ang inyong lingkod ulit. Ang inyo pong Ma'am Blance, no? You can call me Blance lang po if we don't have any classroom interaction, no? So, let's start. The art of communication is the language of leadership. So, ano po kayang ibig sabihin, mga mamin sir? So, when we say leadership, no, ang kanya pong art of ang kanya pong pinakang art, no, or the basic requirement of leadership is communication, no? Kasi po dito natin maipapakita what kind of leaders we are if we have that open line of communication, no? So mga mamin sir, it is very important to have communication as far as leadership is concerned. Okay? So what is power? No, sabi natin power and leadership. Tama po ba ako? Mga mamin sir, is it really our subject? Okay, so what is power? Okay? Power is the ability to influence others. It is also the ability to act or produce an effect, possession of control, authority or influence over others, physical might, mental or moral efficacy. We may lose on the physical might aspect, but purely because of biology, no? The other domains we are doing just fine. Okay? So, yung atin pong physical might may be loose, no? Or may be weakened, no? Kasi humihina, no, ang resistensya ng isang tao. And that is because we have life, 'di ba? Hindi tayo robot, no? Na kumbaga walang emotion, walang na hindi sila nawawalan ng energy, no? Pero tayo, we may lose our physical might, no? Pero it is only natural because we have life, no? Because of biology. Pero yung other domains, no, yung other qualities, no, ng ating kakayahan o ng ating power will always be there, 'di ba? As long as we have the ability to influence others, no? And if we also have the ability to act or produce an effect, 'di ba? Sabi po natin, leadership is action and not just words. Sabi natin, walk the talk, no? Hindi tayo basta nagsasalita. We are exercising our power through actions, and that is leadership. Ano po? Kaya pinagsama natin, no? Power and leadership, no? So let us try to have naman the sources of power in organization. Okay? So what are the different sources? Where does power came from, no? Or where does power come from? And the second question, what gives a person or group influence over others? Na? So more than 50 years ago, social scientists John French and Bertrand Raven in 1959 proposed 5 sources of power within organizations. Okay? So sabi po nila, meron daw pong 5 na sources of power in one or in any kind of organizations. Ano? And what are they? So these sources of power are classified as legitimate, reward, coercive, expert, and referent. Okay? And what are those 5 powers? No? Let us try to explain them one by one. Okay? So when we talk about legitimate power, it is a person's ability to influence others' behavior because of the position that person holds within the organization. Legitimate or possession power, as it is sometimes called, is derived from a position of authority inside the organization. It is referred to as formal authority. So that is, the organization has given to an individual occupying a particular position the right to influence, direct certain other individuals, no? Pero ano nga po ba, no? Sa lahat ng sinabi niya, sa lahat ng explanation about the legitimate power, what is really this legitimate power, no? Sabi po natin, naging legitimate ang iyong power, naging legitimate ang iyong kakayahan, no? Na mag-exercise ng iyong authority kasi ikaw ay itinalaga. For example, during the election, na election, nanalo ka sa election, you are now a certified mayor, no, of your town. That is a legitimate power, and that capacity you have to exercise, or you are now given the legitimate power, no? Legitimate power, ikaw ay legal, no? May legal bind, no, na mag-occupy ka ng iyong position. Kagaya nga po noon, you are nanalo ka sa election. Another thing is, itinalaga ka ng Civil Service Commission to hold your position. Diba? To hold that particular position. Binigyan ka ng authority to exercise power. Ano po? Ang tawag natin dyan ay legitimate power. No? Ang ating presidente, kaya siya namumuno ng ating bansa dahil doon sa legitimacy of the position. Because nanalo po or nanaig ang boses ng masa para siya ang mag-occupy sa Malacanang at mamuno sa ating bansang Pilipinas. Dahil nakuha po niya yan sa kanyang legitimate power. Okay, mga mamin sir. Nakuha po ba? Did you get me po, mga mamin sir? Parang wala.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Opo, thank you, sir. Ano to? Belle Roderick. And sino pa yung nagsalita? Si Ma'am Kubar ba? Parang kayo po yung nagpa-pop up sa aking screen. Okay, so another explanation, when a manager asks all employee to work late to complete a project or to work on one task instead of another, he or she is exercising legitimate power. Ayan, yan po yung ating example kung paano niya ginagawa ang kanyang ang legitimacy, ng kanyang possession, no? Subordinates play a major role in the exercise of legitimate power. If subordinates view the use of power as legitimate, they comply, no? Sabi nga po natin, bakit natin sinusunod ang ating mga boss? Bakit tayo sumusunod sa kanilang mga utos? Bakit natin ginagawa ang kanilang mga directives? Why do we comply for the requirement of your professors? Why do you comply for the requirement of your instructors or your leaders? No? It is because meron silang legitimate power para sundin natin. No? Para tayo ay sumunod sa ating leader. That is because of that legitimate power. Next, number 2 is the reward power. Ano po yung reward power, no, na tinatawag natin? It is a person's ability to influence others' behavior by providing them with things they want to receive. These rewards can be either financial, such as pay raises or bonuses, or non-financial, including promotions, favorable work assignments, more responsibility, new equipment, praise, and recognition. No? Ang reward power po naman, is the ability of the person to influence others' behavior para bigyan sila ng kanilang privileges or benefits.
Reward.
Diba? May kakayahan ang president na magbigay ng incentives. May kakayahan ang president para pagkalooban tayo nung ano nga yung na-receive natin, the service recognition incentives, di po ba? So siya po yung may kakayahan para kung bibigyan tayo o hindi. Because of yung kanyang posisyon ay may bahagi din or isa sa kanyang mandato ay magbigay ng reward, no? Or meron siyang tinatawag na reward power, no? So that is the second type of power. Okay? Next po. Reward power can lead to better performance. Syempre, 'di ba? Kailangan po yan ng mga employees. Kailangan yan ng mga subordinates. Kailangan yan ng lahat, no? Ng bumubuo ng isang organization. Okay? Kung wala kasing incentives, kung walang mga benefits, 'di ba? Parang low moral ang lahat. And at the same time, paano ka magpe-perform ng maayos, 'di ba? Kung hindi binibigay ang mga benefits. No po? So therefore, it is tantamount to the performance of the employees. It is tantamount to the performance of the subordinates, no? Baka hindi na yan sumunod sa utos mo, 'di ba? Kapag hindi natin na-provide ang kanilang privileges or the different benefits, no? As long as the employee sees a clear link between performance and rewards. Ano po? To use reward power effectively, the manager or the leader or whoever our boss is, so should be explicit, no? Should be explicit about the behavior being rewarded and should make clear the connection between the behavior and the reward. No? And that is according to Nelson and Quick in 2012. So therefore, reward power po ay isa sa mga role na ine-exercise ng ating mga leaders. At dapat po nila talagang i-exercise ito for the welfare and for the benefits of the subordinates or of the employees. Ano po, kailangan po kasi natin ang survival, di ba? We need that for our survivals, okay? So number 3 is the coercive power. Ano yung coercive power na tinatawag natin? Ito naman po yung ability ng isang leader to influence others' behavior by punishing them or by creating a perceived threat to do so. For example, employees may comply with the manager's directive because of fear or threat of punishment. So dahil legitimate ang kanyang leadership, pwede siyang mag-exercise ng reward power. And another thing is a leader will also, no, or has also that authority to implement or to exercise coercive power. Ano pa? So, ang coercive power, yung pwede din siyang magbigay ng punishment. No? So, halimbawa, you violated a certain rule, you violated a certain policy in your office, kagaya po nung about our attendance, no? About our tardiness, 'di ba? Paraging late. So, naumay na si boss. Kaya ano ang consequence? Meron siyang kakayahan magbigay sa iyo ng punishment. And that is the consequence of what you did, no? Of violating, no? The rule of the organization. Saglit lang po. Okay. So, that is the ability to to influence others' behavior by punishing them. No, tandaan po natin. That is part of being a leader, or that is part of the responsibilities, no, or the capability of the leader. Okay? Next po, the typical organizational punishments include reprimands, undesirable work assignments, withholding key information, no, demotion, suspension, or dismissal. So these are some, no, of the punishments that can be given to a certain employee who violated a certain rule. No? So coercive power has negative side effects and should be used with caution because it tends to result in negative feelings toward those who use it. No? Bagaman po at yes, it is one of your authority to exercise this kind of power, pero cautious lang po. Be cautious lang, no? Hindi naman kayo tinatanggalan ng karapatan na magbigay ng punishment, but be cautious. Kasi baka mag-turn out nga po sa negative performance and at the same time, baka maging dahilan lang ng hindi pagkakaintindihan, no? Kasi sabi ko nga po sa inyo kanina, the art of communication is the art yung pong pagiging isang leader natin, the art of communication is the language of leadership. No? So yung communication po is very important in the exercise of your leadership. Okay? Next, expert power. Expert power naman po is person's ability to influence others' behavior because of recognized knowledge, skills, or abilities. Diba? Meron kayong expert power. No? Kapag kayo ay isang leader, may sinasabi din po sa inyo na expert power. Kaya ka naging leader kasi meron kang expertise. No? So physicians, for example, are acknowledged to have expertise, special skills, or ano pa yung tinatawag natin? Or knowledge and expert power. Ano po? And hence it is what we call the expert power. Most people follow their doctor's advice, no? So sa atin din po, halimbawa, tinitingnan nila tayo as leader, so kung ano yung i-advise natin, kung ano yung sabihin natin, susundin nila, no? Because of the fact na as a leader, you have that expert power, no? Meron kang kakayahan, meron kang you are full of knowledge when it comes to your craft, no? When it comes to your chosen career. Ano po? Meron kang skills, meron kang abilities, no? At hindi yan basta-basta nawawala. Ano po? Dahil yan ay kakayahan mo, kaabilidad mo, capabilities, no? Okay. Computer specialists, tax accountants, and economists have power because of their expertise. Experts have power even when they rank low in the organization's hierarchy. As organizations become increasingly more technologically complex and specialized, expert power of organization members at all levels in the hierarchy becomes more important, no? So yun nga po, expert power ay hindi lang po, no, makikita or matatagpuan sa isang leader. The expert power, makikita din po even if you are not a leader, even if you are an ordinary employee. But as long as you have that special skill, as long as you have that special talent, then it is rightful, no, that you will have that, or that you will be called to have that expert power, no, mga mamin sir, even if you are not a leader, a manager, or a boss. As long as you have that expertise, then meron ka pong expert power. Yun ang tinatawag natin na expert power. Okay. Next. Some firms deliberately include lower level staff members with expert power in top level decision making. No, that is according to Nebus in 2006. Okay? So, yun pong mga sabi natin, mga lower level, no? Yung mga ano bang tawag natin doon? Yun pong mga may mababang posisyon, no? Yun po 'yan. So knowledge is power in today's high-tech workplace, 'di ba? Sabi nga natin, knowledge is power. It is a common cliche, no, na maririnig natin that kapag meron tayong knowledge, then that is considered as power, no? Meron tayong kakayahan, meron tayong ability, no? Mga mamin sir. Okay, next po is last but not the least, the referent power. What is that referent power? So it is a person's ability to influence others' behavior, no? Because they like, admire, and respect the individual. For example, suppose you are friends with your boss. One day, she asks you to take on a special project that you do not like, no? So ano pong ibig sabihin? 'Di ba? To anyone else, you would likely decline the request, but because of your special relationship with this individual, you may do it as a favor, no? So, sabi natin kapag inutusan ka, no, or ibinigay sa iyo, ipinagkatiwala sa iyo, no, ang isang trabaho or ang isang responsibility, 'di ba? Parang hindi mo kayang tanggihan, 'di ba? Kasi siya yung boss mo and at the same time, malalim yung pinagsamahan ninyo, 'di ba? Kaya ka nandun sa office na yon ay dahil sa kanya. Kinuha ka niya dahil alam niya may kakayahan ka. Okay? So sa pagbibigay niya ng special assignment for you, that is referent power, no? Kumbaga, parang hindi mo matanggihan, no? Hindi ka makatanggi doon sa iniuutos sa iyo or sa ipinapakisuyo sa iyo. Kasi sabi mo, wala akong idea, hindi ko alam, wala akong kakayahan. Pero dahil pabor na hinihingi sa iyo ng iyong boss, you will do it, no? And you will accept it, no, with both of your hands, 'di ba? You will you will find na lang time, 'di ba, to know how to do that particular assignment, no? Out of pakikisama, 'di ba? Out of respect, you will abide, no, by the instruction or the request of your boss, no? That is what we call the referent power, no? So next, referent power develops out of admiration of another and a desire to be like that person. This helps to explain why celebrities are paid millions of dollars in endorsements. No? Marketing research shows that people such as Michael Jordan and Serena Williams have the power to influence your choice of athletic shoes and tennis products. The same could be said of leaders in business firms who have a good reputation, attractive personal characteristics, or a certain level of charisma. Okay? So yung referent power po ay pwede ring maposes, no, ng isang sikat, no, famous personalities kasi para ano? Para ipatronize po, no? Para ipatronize ng kanyang mga fans, no? O yung kanyang mga followers, 'di ba? Yung product na ini-endorse niya, no? So that is another kind of referent power. Okay? So next po. Ano na? Ha? A true leader is able to influence others and modify behavior via legitimate and referent power. So President Carter, for example, had a noble vision about the United States as well as the world. But he could not coalesce groups or people to achieve his goals. The whole country suffered. Presidents Truman and Johnson used their position or office or power effectively and were much better able to manipulate groups and people to achieve their ends. So ang sinasabi po natin dito in comparing, no, in trying to compare the different presidents, no, they are able to influence others, no, and they can modify behavior via legitimate and referent power, no, kasi you all know, or you know already for a fact that you have the legitimate power, no, pero meron ka pa ring referent power. So, ano dapat ang gagawin mo? You have to modify your behavior to ensure, diba, that somebody or your subordinates will really follow your request or order. O kaya naman, tatangkilikin or ikaw ay kanilang susundin. Di po ba? Kasi bago natin mapasunod ang isang subordinates, tatlong bagay po, no? There are 3 magic words that you have to consider. The first one is influence, no? Ito pong pinag-uusapan natin ngayon, 'di ba? A true leader is able to influence others. May influence ka. Kapag na-influence mo ang iyong mga followers or your subordinates, then the next one, or the inspiration, another word or another magic word when it comes to your leadership is the inspiration, no? Ano po yung inspiration? Because you are trying to influence them in a very nice manner and you have that open line of communication, then they will be inspired, no, with a kind of leadership that you are giving to them, no? And if you can influence them and that they are inspired with the kind of leadership that you have, then motivation will follow. So ito pong tatlong magic words na to ang kailangan natin as a leader, no? Motivation will follow. If the employees, if the subordinates are motivated, then there's no need for you, diba, to give your command, to give your request, or from time to time, uutusan mo pa sila. No need anymore because they are already motivated with the kind of your leadership. No? Kaya po pinag-compare, no, yung tatlong president, 'di ba? President Carter, President Truman, and Johnson, no? President Johnson, no? They tried to compare the kind of leadership they have. Okay? So, next one. Ayan, another president. Presidents Kennedy, Reagan, and Clinton relied on personal persuasion and were able to sway the nation as a whole, as well as Congress, business, and labor by charisma and communication. No? Naging ano po sila? Nagkaroon sila ng persuasion and were able to sway the nation as a whole, no? Nagkaroon ng unity, nagkaroon ng cooperation, nagkaroon ng pagkakaisa. Bakit po? Binigay nila, no, yung kanilang personal behavior, binigay nila yung nararapat para sa mga tao. Diba? The persuasion na kinakailangan ay ibinagkaloob po ng tatlong presidents na to. Diba? And look at them, diba? They are very famous, no, presidents. President Roosevelt effectively used both position and personality. President Bush and Obama's leadership tends to coincide with the Truman-Johnson model. No? So ginawa po nila. Sinunod nila yung kay Johnson and Truman. Johnson, kaya naging successful. Look at Obama, no? Talagang very professional. Talagang mahal na mahal si Obama, no, ng mga tao in America, 'di ba? So, that sources of power. Saglit lang po. Wait lang po. Excuse me.
Ma'am, excuse me, nakamute po ata.
Okay, sorry po. So sources of power are divided into personal and organizational, no? So legitimate, reward, and coercive powers are organizational and part of the leader's job, no? Ito po talaga yung responsibilities, no, ng isang leader, no? Kumbaga, talagang ginagawa nila to or dapat talaga nila itong gawin. Kagaya ng legitimate, 'di ba? Bago ka makapag-exercise ng iyong power, dapat legitimate yung leadership mo, no? Yung reward, kapag leader ka, you can give the reward and the punishment, no? As stated in the reward and coercive powers, no? So organizational po 'yon. But when it comes to expert and referent powers, they are personal, no, and emanate from a leader's personality, no? So yung iyong expertise, yung iyong expert power at yung iyong referent power depends on you. Depends on your attitude, no? Depends on your behavior. Ano po, mga mamin sir? Okay, next. The perception of power and status. Okay? So, power is something that can be taken on or that can be taken and or given, no? But a person's status is based on how much others value the individual, and that is equality that cannot be taken. Ano po? So yung ating quality, hindi pwedeng kunin sa atin ninuman. Kasi yun na tayo eh. That is our personality, no? That is what we are, no? In the perception of other people or in the perception of our subordinates, no? Ultimately, the effectiveness of one's power is bound by how much status they have, no? So yung ating effectiveness, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, it lies in you, no? That is your behavior, that is your attitude. Sabi ko po sa inyo, just remember the 3 magic words, no, of becoming a leader, no? Sabi nga po natin, meron tayong personal and organizational, no, na tinatawag natin when it comes to exercising the power. Okay? And yun pong personal, syempre, it is your personal qualities, no? It depends on you. Pero sabi natin, pag sinabing leader, nandun na po, no? Talagang siya ay inspiration, talagang siya ay hinahangaan, and talagang effective yung kanyang personality. Kaya siya ay naging isang leader. Remember, a manager is different from a leader. Ano po? Next. Power and status play critical roles in the ways that people perceive others. The combination of these traits has a significant impact on the relationships between people and organizational dynamics. From a managerial perspective, it's important to think about power and status of individuals you work with or depend upon and the stereotypes that people hold, no? So yung ating power at yung ating status ay critical po, no? They play critical roles and in the way how people or how our subordinate perceive us. No? Okay. Next. So, an example, if other people in the organization don't see a person as having a lot of status, but they're consequently given additional power or resources, that may lead to resentment among other staff and managers, no? Yan po, no? Sa pagbibigay natin, no, ng kanilang responsibilities o ng kanilang power o sa pagdi-divide natin ng kanilang mga roles and responsibilities, 'di ba? Halimbawa, favorite natin or meron tayong ka-close, 'di ba? Close in na empleyado or subordinate, baka po magkaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawaan, no, sa inyong organization. So it is better for you to exercise leadership with fairness, no, mga maminser, with fairness. Next, a person's perception of someone's power and status starts with a set of beliefs and an expectation of the person they are about to interact with. No, for instance, most people consider an airport security agent as someone who holds a lot of power but not a great deal of status. No, merong power, no, hindi natin matanggihan kapag pinatupad ng mga security guard yung kanilang responsibilities, hindi tayo makatanggi, no. Pero pag titingnan natin yung status nila in life, hindi sila ganon ka-effective, no, or hindi sila ganon ka manipulative, no, hindi sila pwedeng mag-manipulate ng ibang tao when it comes to their status, no. Pero yung kanilang power, no, gagawin nila at susundin sila dapat ng mga tao, di po ba? Okay, next. The research team discovered that power has a negative impact on a person's perceived warmth, but that their level of status moderates this power penalty. No? So this is just an example po. Someone who is regarded as having a great deal of power but low status is associated with low warmth, while those with power and status are typically well regarded, no? Consequently, high status individuals are received positively. Di po ba? Bakit nga ba ganon, no? Ang ating mga mindset, di ba? Kapag mga VIP, binibigyan natin ng mataas na pagtingin. Binibigyan natin ng halos sambahin natin, di ba? Inilalagay natin sa pedestal, no? Pero kapag po yung kanilang anong tawag natin dito, power, no, hindi masyado, no. Pero when it comes to status, talagang it is always received positively, no, regardless of power, diba? While high power, low status persons are judged most negatively, no. Sabi nga po, yung ibang mga candidates natin, 'di ba? Low status, no? Bakit natin sila iboboto? Pero pag nalaman natin na mga high status, halimbawa mayayaman, 'di ba? Nagmamay-ari ng mga multiple corporations, no? Multi-million peso corporations, bakit mas mataas yung ating pagtingin sa kanila, 'di ba? Mas pinaniniwalaan natin or mas tinitingala natin, no? Mas sinusunod. So, ito po kasi yung mindset talaga, no, ng mga tao. It is because of our tradition. It is because of our culture, no? Kasi kung ano yung nakagis na natin, yun ang sinusunod na rin ng ibang tao, no? And it is always observed, no? From generations to generations. Ano po, mga maminser? So managers should consider aligning power with status in order to help them to gain power and free themselves from at least some of the constraints of their status. For instance, if someone in the organization isn't well regarded but is nonetheless granted a promotion, there's likely to be resistance and or resentment among staff, no? Meron pa rin po, no? Meron pa rin nangyayaring mga ganito na bakit siya yung na-promote? Bakit siya yung binigyan ng mataas na points, no? Samantalang wala naman siyang ganito. Samantalang walang ganyan, no? So ito po kasi is because of the discretionary power of a leader, no? Meron kasi siyang discretion. No, halimbawa, hindi nga siya yung nag-top sa ranking, pero meron siyang special skill na nakita sa kanya, no? Yung approving authority. So therefore, because of the discretionary power na binibigay sa mga leaders, nagkakaroon po ng pagbabago ang decision making. Lalo na po when it comes to promotion. Na? Okay. So the power of perception and the perception of power. No? So the power and patriarchy. So ano po yung kanilang pagkakaugnay? No? Bakit bakit natin sila pinagko-compare, no? Sabi po natin, as we grow older, we realize that women have lots of power. But due to patriarchal ways of thinking, we have given less value to our ways of being and more value to male, no, ways of behaving. 'Di ba? So, kumbaga po sa tahanan, 'di ba? Sabi natin, mas may power ang mga kalalakihan, no? Kasi kultura po ang nagsasabi, 'di ba? That is part of our culture, no? Nabigyan natin no na ang mga babae dapat ay submissive, 'di ba? Sa mga lalaki o sa kanilang head of the family, no? It still frustrates us that women who are successful are seen as being male-oriented, as if the personality traits that have fueled women's survival over millennia were not enough to make us Speaker of the House or the CEO, no? Look at the Senate po, no? Look at the Congress, 'di ba? Parang wala talagang ginagawa na Speaker of the House, 'di ba? Hindi ini-elect na Speaker of the House ang mga babaeng Congress, yung mga representatives, no? Yung mga babaeng nasa House of Representatives or yung ating mga Congress women, 'di ba? So that's the difference. So ang atin pong kasagutan dito is because of the norms in our society, no? Ito po kasi yung norms na sinusunod natin. And that is because of our culture, no? Kasi mga conservative tayo mga Pilipina eh, 'di ba? Conservative tayo at tayo ay may disiplina and at the same time we are really submissive, no, to our male partner. Ano po? Next, the power of reproduction, no? So ano naman tong power of reproduction? So if we decide to recognize the ability to incubate a human being and keep it alive solely from our bodies for months as power, then man could not come close to having the power we have. If we decided that power was nurturing the world from birth to death, whether as caregivers, teachers, nurses, social workers, and so many other female-dominated professions, we would not think that we have no power. However, if we decide that these are the realms of power, then we can demand the salaries that males demanding. Okay, so hindi na po natin ito masyadong binibigyan ngayon ng pansin, no? Bakit po? Kasi nga, meron na tayong God, diba? Gender and development, wherein there is the equality among men and women, no? Hindi na po natin sasabihin na lalaki lang yung may mataas na sweldo, no? Hindi po, kasi ang mga kababaihan po ngayon, they are already receiving high salaries than men. No? So hindi na po ito yung mindset, no, ng mga tao. Dahil nga po because of that Magna Carta of Women, no, because of that gender and development, no. So there is equality na po, no, among us. No, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na lalaki lang talaga ang may malaking sweldo or sila lang talaga ang pwedeng mag-receive, no, ng malaking sweldo in our society, 'di ba? Hindi na po 'yan ang mindset ngayon, no, mga ma'am and sir. Okay? Next po. The power from the home, no? Parang yung number 1 natin, power and patriarchy, 'di ba? So power from the home is that being in charge of the home sphere means deciding how families spend money, where children go to school, what families eat. How is that not powerful? Our behavior decides fertility rates and what happens to all people as well as children. We push the world forward and decide demographic trends. How is that not power? No? So, ito naman po ay family-orientedness na. No? Pag sinabi natin power from the home, yung power po na ito is rooted with our being family-oriented, no? Because of the fact that we are family-oriented, so hindi na po ito pinagtatalunan, no? Kung sino ba ang mas mahalaga, kung sino ba ang maging sentro, kung sino ba ang susundin natin, no? But because of the fact that it is our home, no? Sabi natin, a house is not a home if there is no love, no? That exists among the family members. Ano pa? So pag sinabi nating home, alam na natin, no? That there is harmonious relationship among the family members. Okay? So yung power po that emanates from the home, the power that emanates from the family ay love, no? Wala na pong ibang power na kung ano pa man, but it is the power of love na tinatawag natin, di ba? Kasi being a family-oriented person, yung love natin for our family ang mangingibabaw. Ano pa? Okay, next. Nadoble, sorry. Doble po yung slide. Gendered power, no? Ano yung gendered power na tinatawag natin? The power debate is not about competition, but about our roles in society and how they are perceived and thus how people are treated. Men are different than women. Magkaiba tayo, di ba? Mag-iba tayo ng role na ginagampanan sa ating family. No, magkaiba din tayo na minsan ng trabaho na ginagampanan. Pero ang importante po doon sa lahat ay ano? Because of God, because of gender and development, ang sabi po is that men and women now are equal. Ano bang ibig sabihin? Equal in opportunities, no? Equal partners in nation building, no? Yun po yun. Kaya tayo ay naging equal. Okay? So, because we are different in essential ways, including the influence of the hormones that make us male and female. No, we may be different, but we are equal. No, don't forget that, mga maming sir. Okay. Nadoble po. The power of nature and nurture. So the realities of power are both socialized and biologically derived. Both nature and nurture. And it is through the latter that women are taught that it's a man's world, even though it is theirs once they decide to claim it. Celebrating our womanhood is a powerful way of being in the world. Okay? So ito naman po ay para sa mga kababaihan, no? Meron po tayong power ng nature and to be nurtured. No, tandaan po natin. So sa ating mga kalalakihan dyan, mga sir, let us try to nurture our female family members. Ano po? So yun lang po. Any question po? Is there any question? May question po ba? Sa inyo pong lahat na nandyan sa mga rooms?
Ma'am.
Wala na po. Okay. So, kayo na po ito pwede end. And that ends our discussion about power and leadership.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
For
ma'am.
listening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maraming salamat, ma'am. So, mag-text lang po kayo sa akin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ha?
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, regarding dun sa assignment